Hello Blender heads and welcome to the first impressions of MetaHuman. Now I actually did this first impressions recording yesterday and I kind of went back and rewatched it and went, oh shoot, I haven't talked about any of the pricing structure or downloads or limitations or anything yet. I kind of jumped into the application and got really excited by everything, and I think it's kind of important that you know what kind of costs you're up for and what the current limitations are, because this is early access. And it's probably best that you know that before you jump into the application and get really excited by how pretty everything is, which is kind of what I did. So let's just quickly talk about the pricing structure. So first of all, if you want to get access to this, it's in early access. So you're going to need to go to the MetaHuman webpage on the Unreal site and request access. A day or two later, they should send you an email. That's roughly how long it took for them to get to me. And that will come with a couple of links in it. One will be to just launch the application. The other will be to download Quixel Bridge. So Quixel Bridge is their little side program. This is where you go to kind of download a whole bunch of the assets from the Unreal Store, including the MetaHumans. And there's a whole bunch of preset ones here that you can kind of jump in and start playing with. Now, in terms of just jumping into the application and being able to play with it, pretty much anybody can do that once you've got early access. You can just come in here and start MetaHuman Creator, jump into the application, just play with it and have some fun. However, if you want to be able to download these either into Unreal or Maya or Blender or whatever your chosen application happens to be, that is the point where there's going to be a paywall. So if you click on subscribe here, it will take you to this page where you've got a couple of different options. If you're a company, you might be looking at some of these larger options, but presumably then you might already know what you're doing. If you're just an individual, you're probably looking at this $19 per month subscription. Yes, it's a subscription, it's not a perpetual license, with that, you get access to a whole range of different things on the store. So not just MetaHuman, you get access to their materials and their Megascans library, a whole bunch of that sort of stuff. Now, again, it's in early access, so maybe this will become a little bit more clear later on, but at the moment, for the $19 a month package, you get 45 surfaces, which is presumably your materials, 22 3D models, 90 other types of assets. I don't know yet what category the MetaHumans fall into. I'm kind of assuming that they might fall under the 3D models, in which case your $20 a month, maybe you get access to potentially downloading 22 of them. Maybe it's early access, maybe they only give you access to one. I honestly don't know yet exactly what the limitations are with that. That said, creating even one of these MetaHumans on your own would be weeks, maybe months worth of work, so even if you only got one of them for $19, I mean, I'd be willing to pay for that. So I don't know whether you get one, I don't know whether you get 5, 10, or whether you can potentially download 22 of them. Kind of just have to wait and see. The other thing to consider is that, again, it's early access. Not everything is not all the features are working yet. So something to consider is if you're planning on exporting these things into Unreal, it seems as though pretty much everything works. You get the model, you get the hair, you get the clothing. I've seen plenty of people doing motion capture stuff, full body and facial, so it seems as though getting it into Unreal works. That's all perfectly fine. But getting it into another application, I'm just looking on their documentation here. This is specifically for getting it into Maya. Presumably there's the same limitations for Blender. You can see here this is the Maya viewport, and there's a note that says when you export your MetaHumans, you only get some of the assets, which includes the facial rig. So the facial rig is kind of one of the big selling points. That's great, but clothing, hair, and body rig are not part of the assets that are included. That's a current limitation. I don't know yet whether that's going to be a permanent limitation, so they're going to try to push you to use Unreal if you want access to all the assets, or whether this is just a limitation of early access and eventually we will get these things. So if you were like me and you were planning on getting this into either Maya or Blender to play around with it, at the moment, it is still fairly limited. If you're looking to get it into Unreal Engine, then it's kind of awesome and everything works. So just take those things into account before you go and lay down some money. So with that out of the way, let's jump into the actual application. Okay, so back again. That probably took maybe a minute or two to fully load up. Had to allow you into the actual online application, and then there was probably another minute or so for it to actually load everything up. But this is it, and we've kind of got our first dude here. So obviously this is really exciting. Like if we just kind of click on a couple of these characters over here, you can see that they look incredibly realistic. Which is obviously really, really exciting that we have access to being able to create these virtually photo-real human beings, which is amazing. But the thing that's really excited me is a day or two ago, I saw somebody putting up a post that they'd been able to export out of MetaHuman. And I thought that Unreal was most likely going to be locking this down to Unreal Engine only. And it looks like that may not be the case. It looks like we're going to be able to get this into, Maya or Blender or 3ds Max or whatever happens to be your program of choice, which is obviously really exciting. So I'm just going to dive in here. I have very little idea of what I'm doing. It looks like you can kind of start with a preset here and then probably go in and tweak something from there. My understanding is that I think there's like 50 of these different characters that you can use as a starting point. But we've also got My MetaHumans here, so I'm going to click on this and see if we can't start completely from scratch. And my first reaction here is maybe we can't. It seems to have loaded up a someone. I'm not sure which one he is in here, but it seems as though maybe we do have to start with a preset. So what's this? We can go full screen. Okay, that's kind of nice. What's the little graph thingy do? Oh, okay, that's like just feedback information. How do I get rid of it? There we go. Okay, so it looks like maybe we do have to start with a base. Maybe that's something that will get tweaked later on, but let's go through here and let's choose a someone. See, the problem is that they all look so damn good. I don't know where to start. Okay, I think one of the things that just to do a comparison to the human generator was we couldn't. There was sort of an age bracket that we were sort of locked down into, so I'm maybe going to try and go for somebody a little bit older in this case. And with Human Generator we went for a female, so let's try going for a male here. So let's see what we can do with Wallace here. And good, great, okay, love that. Just immediately starts with a little bit of animation. And I have to say, I feel like that's one of the things that like above everything else, like obviously there's some incredible detail and everything here, but I think what really sells this is the animation. They've really managed to nail the animation, the fleshiness around everywhere. So I got no idea what I'm doing here. Let's just kind of start at the top here and work our way across. So studio, indoor, these are obviously a bunch of different lighting environments. That looks very realistic. I love that. Let's just have a look at a couple of these. Yeah, outdoor and silhouette, is actually a silhouette. So studio, I reckon I'm going to go with the indoor. I reckon that there's something about that particular lighting that I really like. So auto, oh okay, presumably these are, yeah, default camera positions. So what's auto do? Oh, okay. Presumably as we go through some of the different settings and stuff, the camera will automatically move to whatever we happen to be focusing on. So quality, well, I mean, we're going to at least try and see how far we can push this. That's nice. Hang on, let's just swap back and forth between those. Notice particularly around the eyes, you're getting, well, presumably medium is not ray traced shadows. These are now ray traced shadows, so it's blocking the light a little bit better, casting proper shadows. Let's see if we can push this to epic. Honestly, I'm not noticing a huge difference between epic and high quality. It may also be different models may behave differently. Always use hair cards. Oh, okay, so that's what it'll look like in game. Not quite sure what that is, because I mean, I think that these all use hair cards, so let's, what level of detail can we go? Okay. So you can go down to a fairly low level of detail. That would be, you know, for characters that are like 100 meters or something from the camera. But we want to be seeing this in all of its glory. So let's leave this on LOD, level of detail 0, as the closest level. So clay material, that's kind of cool. With textures and without, hide hair, so you can go bald. Now he looks a little bit like Walter White. Toggle hotkey reference. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah. Okay. Maybe I should have looked at some of this first. Okay, so now we can orbit around him. Well, kind of orbit around him. Nice, nice, nice. So, right click. Oh, okay, that shifts the camera around. And middle mouse button to actually... Whoa! Yep, actually shift the camera around. Alt and right mouse button to pan. Zooming is scroll wheel, as you would expect. Okay, that's nice. We've got figuring out how to make the camera work here. It is a little bit different from... I actually have my keyboard shortcut set up to Maya's default preferences when I go into Blender, just because I've been using it for 10 years. It was a little hard to adapt to that. So I think these might actually be more like Blender's defaults. Alright, so let's start going through some of these things. Let's go have a look at the face blend. Hang on, I'm getting a little bit of reflection on my screen here. Let me just close that so I can see. So what have we got here? Stop the animation to enable this panel. Oh, okay, so let's pause him. No? Oh, we have to stop it. Okay. So what's this? Drag 3 of the presets below into the slots above. So this kind of looks like we're almost like breeding people. So, okay, we're going to mix him with someone. Let's go Cooper here. Cooper almost looks like a younger version of him, so let's drag Cooper in here. And, okay, it looks like we must have to drag all 3 in there before it's going to do anything. So, who else do we want to drag in here? Let's just go for a little bit of a mixed variety here. So let's throw Jessie in there. Jessie. And let's throw a lady in there just to see what all of this does. Who's this? Here we go. Maria, let's go put you in there and let's see what happens. Okay, so... Okay, so it seems to have enabled some points on the face here. So what do we do here? Oh, okay, so if we drag up, that's going to make it more like Maria. If we drag it across, it'll be more like Jessie. And what was his name? Cooper, I think. So we kind of blend the eyebrows between all of them. And presumably we'll be able to do the same sort of thing here. So you've kind of got to have a good idea of what all these different facial structures are. And I may have chosen some people that are a little bit too similar. But, okay, this is funky. Yeah, you can just, blend between several different people. Some good variation in the ears. Does it do hair or anything? Okay. No, that's not hair blending, that's just morphing the skull slightly. Okay, so this looks like a fairly fast way of blending between a few different human beings. Alright, let's go and chuck Nasim. Let's put him in there, because they're both slightly old dudes. We might be able to get something that blends a little bit more nicely. Okay, I'm going to move on because we've only got an hour or so to actually play with this thing. It's one of the limitations of the early access. So we've got skin tone. We make him very sunburnt kind of dark, very pale. I like this. This is it's doing a nice job of limiting us in terms of like an actual human skin palette. Oh, okay, and those just drag us back and forth between that. Okay, so texture. Oh wow, okay, that's funky. And now now all of a sudden he looks. His face looks really young, but his facial hair looks really, really old. So this is blending a whole heap of different things. Like the further we go, the older he gets, which is cool. But at the same time, it's like it changes a whole bunch of different things. Like, whoops. There's obviously a huge difference in that normal map compared to. Come on. Compared to that normal map, even though we've moved very, very slightly on the slider. So the older ones do seem to be further towards the right, but this does seem to be swapping between a whole bunch of different facial textures. So I don't know, this feels like a bit of a finicky way of actually picking a texture, but there's huge variety in there, which is quite astounding. I'm going to go with that. Again, I'm going to try and make an older dude here. Just to sort of contrast what we've done before. So, speaking of contrast, so what's this? This pushes us, looks like it's more towards reds, and then this is more towards yellows, I think. So, I'm going to go with slightly more yellow, and then roughness will presumably be how shiny he gets. It's definitely changing some things, but it's very, very subtle. I don't know, that may just be the lighting conditions that we've got here. I don't know, let's just throw it to outdoor and see whether that doesn't make a bigger difference. And again, it's doing it, you can kind of see it around his neck, but it's very, very subtle. Oh, and we do still have access to all of these things, so we can keep changing him back and forth, even as we're playing with all of these other things. So look, I'm just going to kind of leave that in the middle. I can't see it's doing a huge difference. So freckles, I mean, it looks like he's already got a few freckles here. I'm guessing these must be presets, so lots of freckles, small amount of freckle, very small amount of freckles. Going to go with slightly more, so that it looks like he's kind of got a bit of an aged skin look, and then we can really push it. Strength is, yeah, opacity, so you don't want to go too far or he starts to look like he's actually a bit ill. And saturation, yeah, orange, and then back down to almost a bluey kind of colour. So we'll keep that a bit middling, and then tone shift is, it's into, again, that's kind of purplish, and possibly pushing more towards the yellows. So I'm going to try and blend this in with his skin a little bit more. Somewhere around there looks good. Accents. What's accent? Oh, okay, so is this like different colorations throughout his skin? We've actually got like individual controls over this. Yeah, that's really nice. So we can make him look like he's blushing or maybe a bit sunburnt and actually just go green. Okay, sorry. I know we have a time limit here, but I just kind of want to see if I just push everything to this green. Okay, it's kind of making him look a little bit patchy. I was hoping I could maybe get like a zombie sort of look, and unfortunately it's not quite working. So let's reset all. That's nice. So saturation, lightness, darkness. I'm working with his chin here, and we can't really see it terribly well. Let's maybe go back to his cheeks. So you can give him a little bit of a sunburnt look, which I might go for. That's very sunburnt. That starts to almost look like we've pulled all of the saturation out there. He's kind of go a bit grayscale. Lightness, darkness. So I'm just going to give him a little bit of a sunburnt look. You could obviously spend a lot of time playing with this. Lips, you could certainly make much more red. Actually starts to look like he's wearing lipstick. And then you can kind of make him look like he's almost dying. Okay, so lots of control in there. But let's move on. Looks like we've got plenty of presets to choose from. Is it choosing that? Hang on, let's just zoom in on here on his eyes. I'm not really getting a good feel. Oh yeah, it's just a single click. So that's very, very dark. Blues, greens. It's a fairly subtle shift. That's, again, probably mostly due to the lighting. I feel like the studio lighting, yeah, that might actually give us a slightly better impression of his eyes. So again, going for older, so I might go for slightly more of a bluey grey look. And then presumably we can go in here and really get into some extreme detail. So how close can we get here? Wow, look at that! Like there's pores inside the wrinkles, and the level of detail on this is astounding. I'll be very interested if we can get this into Blender, just how detailed these maps must be. They must be huge. So yeah, we'll work on both eyes at the same time. We've got a base color. Again, it's kind of limiting us to this palette, which is, you know, realistic palette, which is nice. I suppose the only downside is you can't push them into some crazy colors, which might also be nice to be able to do. But I'm sure once you get this into a different program, I'm sure you could come in and tweak these things and really push them well beyond the limits that it looks like we have in here. And we've got a whole variety of different iris variations in there. It's very hard to see the actual difference at this kind of resolution, but it's very nice that we've got those options. And then we've actually got the whites of the eye, so we can tint this very, very subtle tint. And I think I spoke about this last time. You can kind of push it into this yellow zone, kind of makes it look like he's got liver disease or something, which I suppose, if we're talking about an older individual, maybe I will just kind of push it towards the yellows a little bit. And then brightness, darkness, rotation. Hang on, can we actually rotate them? It's definitely doing something in there, but it's so subtle I honestly can't actually tell what it's doing. Presumably that's number of blood vessels. Yeah, so older dude will make so those blood vessels are kind of a little bit more obvious. And then vein rotation is, yeah, you can actually see that that's rotating around in his socket there. So huge amount of control there. That's cool. Teeth. Oh, I was going to say, how are they going to show us the teeth? His mouth is closed. Okay, they just animate it. That's funky. I like that. Okay, that looks like a very painful expression to hold, but... So what have we got here? Oh, we can actually, like, shift the teeth around. Oh, wow, so we can... Like, hang on, is this, like, making them ever so slightly wonky? That's cool, they're just ever so slightly offset. Oh, that's nice, because so many times you see these teeth, and I mean, like, his teeth are, even for... They're fairly realistic because they've got like little bits of yellow and stuff in there, but they are very perfect. So it's very nice that we can kind of just add a little bit of imperfection. Yeah, I've got to give like that little bit of a snaggle tooth. Yep, got to do that. Bend them. Ah, okay, I'm going to have a little bit more fun playing with this. What on earth? Overbite, overjet, polycanine. Is this going to like... What's this going to do? Oh, okay. Oh, wow. So... Receding gums. Okay, that makes him look really old. Oh, goodness me. Okay, there's a lot of stuff to play with in here. And yes, this will give us a whole range of variation and misshapenness in those teeth, which is really cool. Plaque amount? Oh, okay, I'm starting to make this guy a little bit gross. Jaw open. And cool. Ah, nice. Now we can actually see in there to the tongue and everything. Ah, it's beautiful. Okay. Again, I do have a bit of a limit of time here, so as much as I would love to spend just hours playing with teeth, I probably can't. So we can give him a little bit of makeup if we feel like it. He doesn't strike me as the kind of dude that would be wearing a great deal of makeup, but I do love that we can. We can even make it metallic. Ah, some lovely fine-tuning controls. I'm going to fairly well skip over the makeup. It doesn't really work very well for this particular fellow. Not really seeing the lipstick appear. Oh, that's because it was 100% transparent. Okay, so I can give him a little bit of lippy if I feel like it. Again, not going to do that with this particular fellow. But actually, let's just so we can have a look at it, you can get very particular shapes with the lipstick there. So let's just make sure that he doesn't have any on. And let's move on to hair. Okay. So there's a reasonable amount of variation in here. I actually kind of expected there might be a little bit more. But let's kind of fiddle around with a couple of different ones. I think kind of the receding hair that he comes with default there is probably going to be with what we go. Although there is some appeal to that as well. So I'll just kind of throw up a few different hairstyles here just so we get a bit of a brief look. That most certainly doesn't feel like it suits him. Let's go a little bit silly. How does he look with a nice long afro? Oh, it jiggles too. Okay, I've got a bit of an appreciation for that. That's a nice little bit of dynamics in there. So this dude certainly feels like he's more the kind of guy that would have a nice short crop hair of some sort. Just as an experiment, I do want to go and throw some long hair on. Obviously, it's not going to look great on this particular fellow, but I do just want to go, there is the long hair, and I'm sure on a female character that will look sublime. But I think I am probably just going to go with the hairstyle that he came in with. I feel like that was particularly nice. Alright, we might leave him with that receding, because again, we are going for the older kind of dude look here. We've got shininess. That looks very slick now. I think it needs a little bit more roughness to it. We've got the amount of... Whoops, my camera's got locked. There we go. We've got amount of salt and pepper, so we can make him pretty much grayscale, or give him back his nice youthful brown. And then we can obviously change the actual colour itself. I'm going to add a fair bit of salt and pepper here, so it does seem to strip away a fair bit of the colour. I think I might go with something a little bit more pale, just because over time that's kind of what you would expect to happen. Pull out some of the redness. Oops, too far. Alright, I'll keep going with that. So I think that's all of the hairstyles that we've got. Let's jump over to some eyebrows. Now this fella he doesn't seem like the kind that would keep his brows nicely trimmed, so let's go with something a little bit bushy. What have we got? Yeah, I reckon maybe that one. Scraggly. Medium full. Alright, I think I'm going to go with the medium unruly. So again, we've got roughness, make them look a little bit damp. Hang on. Oh, okay, for some reason I needed to click that to unlock it. I've unlocked it now. So I might go with something a little bit darker so that it kind of matches his hair. Again, we can do this whole salt and pepper thing. I'll just add a little bit to that, just add a little bit of grey flecks through there. So not a lot of controls, but I mean a fair bit of variety even despite the handful of controls. Eyelashes. Okay, I do kind of want to have him look at him with some nice luscious eyelashes there, and oh, he looks so pretty. That's very nice, but let's go for something a little bit more realistic. Short and sparse. That's probably what we'll end up going with. Although, yeah, I think I like that. So again, we can do some custom settings, and actually, I don't know. Eyelashes. I've never even considered getting salt and pepper, grayscale through your eyelashes. I'm going to add it, but I don't actually know what that's like. So beard, we've obviously got a few different types of beards, and of course we're going to go for the longest, messiest one we can, just to go, actually, I kind of like that. That's really nice. So what other types do we have? I might even stick with that. That's very nice. Short. It's fairly well kept. I don't think he's going to be the kind of pencil thin dude. Although I have to say, all of these do look so nice that
I can kind of see any of them working okay. I'd like to kind of test a fairly bushy beard just to see what results we get. So I'm going to go with that, and then we'll swap over to a moustache. Again, we've got the nice pencil thin. Oh, maybe that was the one that we were already using. Okay, so let's go with something a little bit more bushy to kind of match his beard. Scraggly mess. What do we want? Full mustache or scraggle? They're fairly similar, but I think I'm going to go with scraggle. And we seem to have a little bit of salt and pepper pre-built into that, so I'm going to leave that. So let's go and have a look under the body. So everything we've looked at so far has most definitely been face. So he's for an older dude, he looks very, very fit. So I feel like that's probably not what he'd look like. Let's make him a little bit more pudgy. Ooh, that's a little bit more pudgy than I would like him. And that's very, very thin. Okay, so I think I'll keep it in there for now. I'm hoping I can get a little bit more control over this so that I could actually adjust his weight. Oh, okay. Short, average, tall. Okay, we've got 3 options for that. I might make him a little bit shorter, and looks like we've only got the 3 options. So I guess we'll leave him kind of at the default one, because chubby seems a little bit more chubby than I'd like him to be, and I don't want him to be really, really skinny. Hopefully I can get a little bit more control over that. Tops is, yeah, as you would expect. He's got a couple of different shirt varieties. He doesn't look like the kind of dude that's going to be wearing a hoodie. Certainly seems like the kind that would wear a shirt. I wouldn't mind going with something a little bit more casual. I think he looks best in his shirt here. Bottoms, so there's not a lot of variety in the outfits yet. Hopefully that'll get padded out as this gets further through development. So we've got jeans. Oh, very casual, Grandpa. No. So we've got, looks like skinny jeans. Those look like regular jeans. Okay, I guess we're leaving him in regular jeans. I feel like that's got to be the best. Shoes. He doesn't really seem like a sneakers kind of guy. Flip-flops? Probably not with that shirt. Maybe those. Boots? No, he strikes me as a boots kind of fellow. Okay, let's leave him with the boots. Okay, so we've kind of gone through all of that. Except for maybe changing the colours or whatever, but that's not too big a deal. So we've got blend here. So I feel like that's still referring to the face. What's move going to do? Ooh. Okay, so this is definitely more facial stuff. What else have we got here? So this looks like click and drag. Oh goodness me. Okay, so what's this? Push them towards the middle, they get smaller. Drag down, they get larger. We can really scale them out as we go outward. Very small eyes. So I feel like probably somewhere smaller is going to work for him. Okay, that's slightly different again. Oh, let's give him a little bit of an angry expression. Actually, dragging it out that way starts to look a little bit Asian. Eyebrows. Quite a lot of deformation going on there. There's quite a lot of change. And it's not instantly intuitive like, ooh, if you drag it down, yes, the brows go down. You drag it up, the brows go up. But there's kind of this back and forth, which, it does still move it that way, but it's very... it feels very like liquid, malleable. It's very fleshy as you move this around. So I think, yep, we'll go down there. I think that kind of suits the personality we're going for. No, whoa, lots of controls over the nose. So upward nose, downward nose, chubby nose, very flat nose, very bulbous kind of nose. So I think I'll maybe go for something a little bit fatter. And then shrink it back in a little bit. Maybe something like that. I'm guessing this is going to be chin, which may be a little difficult with all that beard there to get a proper sense of. It's just... getting a little bit of lag there. Come on, Wallace, you can do it. Getting a fair bit of lag. Okay, that seems to have fixed it. So let's go with a bit more chin up, a little bit of a tighter lip kind of thing going on there. What sort of control? So big, puffy lips, sort of going down. I do like this, that it feels like it's not symmetrical, which is some very nice attention to detail. He looks very upset there. I don't think we want him to look quite that upset. We've got the middle line. The middle line is different to the bottom one. Oh, there we go. That's a kind of a fold in, fold out, so we can kind of like the that monkey face we. Can I just make that a little bit wider? Okay, okay. And then finally we've got the ear control. Yeah, up and whoa. There's actually quite a lot of stretch in that. Ooh, big ears, little ears, front ears, back ears. Wow. And they really like, they're morphing as well. It's not just push it back, push it forward. They really change shape as you go. Which is, I don't feel like I have individual control. Like I feel like can I add a lobe or something to him? And I don't seem to have control over that, but I did, like, there's plenty of variety in there. Okay, let's go sculpt. Alright, okay, this is where we're probably going to get into some real fine-tuned stuff. So, no, I still don't seem to be able to, like, pull on a lobe or something. It seems to move a lot of stuff together. But this is obviously giving me much more fine-tuned control than I had before. So, I mean, this looks like it's kind of doing the same thing. It's just that there's, rather than having 1 or 2 controllers for the eyes, I now have like 5 or 6. And a lot more fine control. But again, I wouldn't say it's necessarily like exactly intuitive as to what direction you're supposed to shove these things in to get where you want. See, I kind of instinctively go, yeah, move it in and out, and we'll get wider lips. And I mean, to a certain extent we do, but there's also a lot of there's more up and down movement there than out. I do like that there's, like, it really feels asymmetrical, which is, it just adds so much realism. Okay, we could spend hours just kind of fiddling with these individual points. So, okay, see, this one kind of moves how I'd expect it to. Move it out, the bone moves out, up and down, there. Okay, again, could spend hours on this, but not going to do that. Let's go and have a look at the preview. Okay, so this is looking at him in motion again. Love the way that the beard is kind of sticking to everything. Okay, so what have we got here? This is idle, face roam, body roam. Ooh, wait, body roam? Does that like does his whole body move? Oh, yes it does. Huh. It really, the animations are very nice. It really brings them to life, doesn't it? He's got this whole, yes, look, I'm alive. It's amazing.